Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai, Mahayogi Swami Umananda Saraswati ki jai. I humbly seek the blessings of Bhagwan Nityananda, Muktanand Baba and my revered Gurudev Mahayogi Swami Umananda Saraswati. Before I take up the talk on Shri Gurugeeta, it's a very powerful prayer and it highlights all the proper role of a guru in our life. It's actually a discussion between Lord Shiva and Parvati. They are supposed to be seated on the peak of Himalaya mountains, Kailash, called Kailash. And she poses a beautiful question to him. She says, I would like to be initiated with Guru Diksha. That is, let me also know what Guru Diksha means. She says, I want this Diksha so that, which will probably help a mortal to become immortal. Now, we've got to try and first understand what is the meaning of being immortal. And we will see it. There are 180 couplets, shlok, of which we'll be taking just 60 today, and after a few days another 60, and another 60. So in 3 sessions, A, B and C, or 1, 2 and 3 on Gurugeeta, you will try and have the meaning, the complete meaning in short. It won't be with every shlok we won't be saying, but some of these are very important. Then it starts with an idea of the arrangement. Right now we are translating Ved. So the arrangement, when you write down, it's like a chapter, mandal, and after that you have the Sukta. Sukta is that particular sub-chapter, you can call it. And under that, you have 3 things put. One, there is the name of the seer, the saint who has contributed, or the author, and who has witnessed this mantra, experienced the mantra, or has contributed to the mantra. Then in the center of the text, when you open the text if those who wish to have the text, please SMS to me. We will organize it, arrange it that you get it. And in the center is the topic about which it's being talked. The seer is talking, or the name of the God to whom he dedicates those couplets. And in the end, there are meters. Meters is the number of words per shlok, per line in a shlok. There are normally 4 lines, and each line has got about 2 to 3 sets of words together. We have like Dharma Kshetre, 4 words. Kuru Kshetre, 4 words. Samaveta, 4 words. Yuyutsavaha, there are 4 alphabets, what I meant. Mamakaha, Pandavaschaiva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. So there are 8 sets of 4 words each and compiled in 4 lines. And this becomes a meter called Anushtupa Chanda. So these are various types, there are 26 types of Chanda. And so Gurugeeta, the seer is Sadashiv, Lord Shiva. The topic is that Guru is Paramatma, Guru is God, is the topic about which Lord Shiva is talking to Parvati. And there are multiple Chanda, various ways of its arrangement here within 180 shlok. Now, the characters, who are the characters in it? The characters are Shiva and Parvati. But who is the beneficiary? Who benefits from their discussion? The mortal benefits from the discussion. Now, there is, besides these two, the the two characters, they, Lord Shiva, let's start with Lord Shiva. So, Lord Shiva, he has, let us say, a mantra. He is God, of course. So, what is the mantra of Lord Shiva? So, there is a normal, entire, the air, when it moves in the body in the form of breath, there is a normal beat, there is a normal sound which emerges from breathing. So when you breathe in and you breathe out, you can close your ears and hear that. So normally it is said, so when you breathe in by, of course, if you have to experience hum, saha and soham, there are these two words. So when you breathe in, it is hum. When you breathe out, it is saha. Now this is the normal mantra of Lord Shiva. As if he is telling every individual on the earth that Lord Shiva, that is I, he calls himself right now, say, let us say I am you. Lord Shiva says, hum, saha, I am you. And what is what are we supposed to say then? Obviously, soham, you are me. So the Lord's mantra is hum saha and our mantra is soham. Now when you have to say hum saha, when you breathe in by throat, you can say, you can hear that, and you breathe out by the nostrils, that becomes saha. So breathing in by throat, but not with your mouth open, with your mouth closed. And when you breathe in, normally how do we do that? Whenever we find somebody very dear to us, we have an expression, yes, something like that, but with your mouth closed. If you breathe in, it becomes hum. And when you breathe out by the nostrils, through the nostrils, it will be saha. So that is the mantra of Lord Shiva. And what are we supposed to, while doing it, we are supposed to say soham. So when do we say soham? When you breathe in by the nostril, that is so, and you breathe out by the mouth. But of course, as I said, your mouth doesn't have to remain open. Just mental alignment is needed. So it is as if Lord Shiva is saying, I am you, and you are saying, you are me. So these two are supposed to be like two hands or petals. They call it petals for the energy to move. But I'll say, let us say, if you consider them as two hands, and they are making the entire world. They are creating the world. So hum saha and soham are these two hands, like two hands, and they are moving and doing the creation part of the world, the creating activity. So let us say, this is just a general understanding of the ham bijam saha shaktihi krom kilakam. When they come one after the other. I'll give you another example. There was a dacoit. He was called Valya. His name was Vali. And he used to, obviously, he just decided that he'll kill the people who pass through the jungles, loot them, and look after his family. So one day, sage Narada, who's supposed to be an ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu, so he is passing by, and the dacoit stops him, and he says, I've got to kill you, or give me whatever you have. He says, I don't have anything. So he says, then I have to kill you because I need to feed my wife and children. So after all, he's a sage, and he's a great sage, the greatest of all. So he says, all right, who are you doing this for? So he says, my wife and my child, my son. So he says, why don't you do one thing? I'll stay here. You go home and you ask them that this is a crime I'm committing and it is going to have consequences. So will you share the consequences with me? So he said, what if I go, you'll run away? He says, no. Word of honor, my word of honor that I will stay here. So he stays back. And of course, Wali goes home. He asks his wife, he says, look here, I'm killing people. And I know I'm going to one day go to hell because this is not supposed to be right the way I'm living. But he says, since I'm doing it for you, will you share the consequences with me? So she says, no, I didn't ask you to kill to feed us. You could have chosen another way of working. So he feels very disappointed. Then he goes to his son and he says, will you be standing by me if I have to go to hell? Will you share the pains with me, the repercussions with me? So he says, no, no, father, I'm not going to take the share of your evil because we didn't ask you to kill people to give it to us. We want you to work. I mean, that's your job. So again, he is taken aback. He asks his daughter. The response is the same. Very disheartenedly, he comes to Narada. He says, it's so sad. I've got to confess that they're not willing. They're not willing to share the consequences of my wrongs. So he says, then you think, would you like to do it? He says, but then I don't know. There's no other way I know how to earn except loot the people who pass by. So he says, wait, I'll give you a mantra, just 2-worded mantra. And he says, you start saying it, and let me tell you, it will create a new venue for you. You'll find another way of surviving. So, and Narada gives him the mantra, Rama. Now Rama, and he says, keep saying, Ram, 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 Ram. Now this Valmiki says Rama, 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 Rama. So he keeps on saying it fast. So Rama becomes Mara. Mara means kill. So he says, again the word is saying kill. So, so something like that, this Guru has its own potential. Hamsa, Soham. Yes, it can become Soham and Hamsa. So this is just the arrangement of the words. But of course later, then he kept saying Ram, 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 Ram. He's supposed to have risen to a level of a sage. He became sage Valmiki and he's written Ramayana. So look what can happen if you just chant a holy word. Whichever religion you belong to, whichever holy word your religion asks you to absorb, take it. Because after all, it is just, this is going to make you an enlightened soul. All right, and that is what Parvati says. Give me the Guru Diksha, which will make me immortal from a mortal person. That's it. Brahma-mayi, let me be immortal. Now, explanation of this immortality comes later in almost 120th shlok. But we will be taking that later. Right now, there's much more that we need to basically know. So then we saw the place. Then when she asks him, he says that Mama Rupasi, you are like me. Now, when do we say to someone that you're like me? You see, man loves one's own self, and there's nothing as good as one is. My Gurudev used to say, if you want to hear something nice, you tell people to talk about themselves. And if you want to hear something wrong, you tell them to talk about their neighbors. so, so it's like, so when you tell somebody that you like me, because you love yourself so much that only if you love somebody genuinely, you will compliment them with this, that you are like me. I mean, you're like me. You see, I'm honest, you are all honest, and I'm good, and you are also good. So this is how. But if God says, you are like me, can you imagine how much God's love there is, you see, for us, for humanity? So he tells Parvati, he says, Mama Rupasi Devi Tvam, you are like me, O Goddess. What is the common thing between them? That she is concerned about the welfare of mankind. In Vedas, this is a prime thing. All the gods are there to do good to mankind. And we are able to appreciate that because in a background, the demons are supposed to be wanting to obstruct our progress and prosperity, against which gods who are more prosperous, more progressive, are willing to help mankind to get raised to their level. That is why we call them gods. So in the Ved has this, all you see the Panch Mahabhut are one of there are 5 gods amongst the 33 Panch Mahabhut. The Agni is fire, Vayu is air, water is Jala, that is then Prithvi is earth, then Akash is space. These are also considered as gods because they are all the time serving mankind. They are the very powers. The other day I was just wondering, I said, what is the significance of air? It means movement. Now, anything that needs to move, what do? We use hands. So let us say Vayu, the god of air, are the very hands of God. So wherever there is movement, whether it is a small insect in the sand below, the soil below, and is moving and stirring the soil. That stirring of soil, we do it with hands when we want to plant a seed. And and then we mix the sand and the, whatever is to enrich the soil, we mix it with hands. So wherever there is an act which is undertaken by hands, you can think of Vayudev. Or if you want to attribute the qualities or understand the qualities of Vayu, see what all things your hands can do. Movement and touch. Vayu is touch and movement. Then fire, as we have already said, is form and transform. We'll come to it later, but right now this is what he says, you are of my form. Why? Because you're concerned about the welfare of mankind. And therefore I shall share the secret with you. And what does he say? He says, Guru Vina Brahma Nanyat Satyam Satyam Varanani. There is no attainment of Brahma, enlightenment, or knowing the world. It is not possible, knowing the Supreme is not possible without a Guru. Now, if you say, I want light and I don't want sun, how can you get light without sun? Yeah, I'm thirsty, but I don't want rains. No, you see. So there is an arrangement in the universe that the knowledge, it is a personification of knowledge. Guru is supposed to be personification of knowledge. And since God is knowledge itself, God is knowledge itself, man is desire, but the desire to know the truth, that is his nature. Man is supposed to be, a mortal is supposed to be desire personification, personification of desire, or desire personified, but desire for what? To know the truth. And who is the truth? God is the truth. But can you see him? No. So do you want it to be converted into something more handy, more personal? Yes. So he comes in the form of a guru. You want it simpler than that, something more regular? It comes in the form of scriptures. So we've got to understand how the entire, because man needs something gross to understand. We cannot think of subtle things more easily. All can't. There were very few enlightened people who could reach the unknown, the unseen, unknown truth through these experiences, through these understandings. Now, I'll give you a very beautiful example what I mean. We hear the croaking of a frog. Now, it is said, one of the saints of Vedas, his Vasishtha, sage Vasishtha, he says the croaking of the frog is there only when the monsoons are there. And from one monsoon to the next monsoon, he goes into total silence. Now, this silence is supposed to be one of the austerities which is observed by seekers. They go into silence for a year. Almost. The frogs go into silence for a year. Now, have you ever noticed, either you notice when they croak or you don't notice frogs at all. They're not anywhere in your mind. To get this as an example, that all those scholars, all the seekers who maintain silence for a year, he gives a simultaneous example of a frog. Now, this is how we've learned. Man has learned from nature. Man has enlightened himself with the help of nature. Therefore, man, because that is how we are designed to learn, to know. We are curious. We are curiosity personified. And what are we curious about? What is the truth? For example, if there is a bang somewhere outside, you rush into the balconies to see what has happened there. What has brought this big sound here? So, this is how a man is designed. He rushes to know the truth. And who is the truth? God is the truth. But he's in an unseen form. So therefore we need something which is in a seen form. So either it is like an experience of the world, or it is a master around you, or it is probably a text that you have. So you are trying to trace why you are studying. Because man wants to know the truth. And that can even, and that is how, because we are learning from the nature, we tend to imitate the nature. That is how we, from just the earthly gods, we reach the planets because of their luminosity. That is how Veda talks. But anyway, we will stick to this. So he says, you are like me. Since you are concerned about the welfare of mankind, I would like to explain to you the science of Guru Diksha. Now, were there other options than Guru Diksha? Because he says, Guru Veena Brahmananyat Satyam Satyam Rani. You cannot understand the Supreme without the help of Guru. Now he says, were there earlier other schools? Yes, there were people who studied Veda, Shastra, scriptures, people who studied Tantra, Mantra. There were various schools of thoughts. But he says, all that is a waste if you don't go with the help of Guru. Now this is how the status of Guru is declared here by Lord Shiva. He declares it. Either you go, if you want to go through knowledge, then you've got to accompany it by knowledge plus action. And if you go by the help of faith, then at times, at sometimes, maybe you're not in a position to act, but it works. Just faith alone works. For example, even if you're not well, sometimes all medicines might just not work, but probably a faith will work. Beautiful example I will give you. Once in a working factory, a man just happens to go into the cold storage room to get something from it or something. And since the factory time gets shut, it's automatic everywhere, the doors get locked and he gets locked in. And it's a cold storage place, so there is no way of communicating. And almost for 12 hours he stays locked in a cold storage room. Now can you imagine what must have happened? Imagine we being in refrigerator for 12 hours. And he's almost about to die. But then of course somehow he remembers Mother Mary. And it is so said that a blue light just passes through, I won't say pierce because it doesn't harm the glass. It just comes in and fills him with warmth. So the next day when the doors open and the guard comes who opens the doors and all, he's about to come in, he opens, he sees this man in, my God, there is panic in the entire factory. But this fellow just gets up and walks out. Now this is what we need to have faith in that. Now that it may be another dimension, it may be a different dimension totally, probably not tested much by normal mortals, but by those who were helpless and were forced to accept faith, they have benefited. They have benefited. Now this faith, what do you want the faith to be in? As far as Guru is concerned, what faith you need to have. So it is so said that you have to believe that at his feet lie the holy pilgrimages. The water which washes his feet, it is going to be a curing, it can cure. Oh my God. My battery is low, so I'll stop now. We'll continue next time. Thank you. This is Swami Radhikananda from Pune. Sorry, the battery is low. I'll continue tomorrow. Thank you. This is Swami Radhikananda from Pune.